Hi everyone, welcome back to Billy Fitzgerald Golf, and today we're going to get back to basics a little bit. We're finally able to get back out on the golf course, and there's a few things that we want to make sure that we're not forgetting, and that's basic fundamentals. And the one I'd like to talk about is pressure, whether it be grip pressure, shoulder pressure, hip pressure. We're going to get into all of those today and why that's critical. Over the last few months, we've had a chance to work on our swing, and get as technical as you want. Some people get a little bit more technical than others. The one thing we cannot forget, though, is how critical that being loose and soft. And what I mean by that is that just allows us to move. And I've said this before that, tension will always trump technique, because if there's tension involved somewhere, technique is kind of out the door, because if I can't move the muscle correctly, I can't move it with tension. So it's got to be loose, it's got to be free. So the first thing we're going to get to is grip and grip pressure. I don't need to go over the grip, but just how much pressure should we be putting into the handle? You always want to make sure that when you think about grip pressure, we hold on to it by the grip, no question. But we feel the head of the golf club. We've got to have, again, club face awareness of what's going on with the golf club. We have to know where the head is and feel it. Otherwise, how would we direct momentum? We wouldn't. So we have to feel the weight in it. Most students that come to me, they hold on to the grip and that's all they feel. The problem with that is, A, they can't feel the head of the golf club, and B, which we'll get to in a minute, it locks my arm up, and more importantly, my shoulder joint up. So, right there, I'm already in for a world of hurt. I got big problems in front of me if that happens. So one thing, again, find the head of the golf club. One thing we can do to first realize that is just grab onto the head and feel it. There's definitely some weight there. Now go ahead and grip your golf club and hold it out right in front of you and just make some circles. Okay, you can see even here, going this way, going the other way. See, I'm just directing the momentum of the golf club. I'm directing the head of where I want it to go. Now, as I start to tighten up and feel the grip a little bit more, see, I start to feel my shoulder sockets tighten and the circles get much smaller with the golf club, okay? So again, we should easily be able to make big circles, no effort. That golf club's almost floating in my hands there, and there's no pressure in my shoulder joints here, okay? So that's the first thing. Make sure your grip pressure is right. Make sure the head of the golf club is in your hands. You can feel it. It's that face awareness. Again, something critical that we're going to talk about again is making that consistent throughout your swing. And that's a big deal. And I've actually had some, not so technically perfect swings, but just feeling the head of the golf club, we can get away with a lot, really. And what do I mean by that is making sure that when you swing, from start to finish, and when I say starts down here and finishes all the way over here, that you feel like your grip pressure didn't change. What I see a lot, again, we're trying to hit the ball as far as we can. Usually not in good sequence when this happens, but this should trigger that something's wrong. Is that when you change directions here and you grab right onto the golf club, in other words, your grip pressure changes. See, we're no longer just directing the golf club with momentum. Now we're starting to fight it. So, one or two things is going to happen. Either I've got to grab onto the grip back here, or the club's going to fall out of my hand. So, making practice swings where you feel that your grip pressure stays consistent. That would be a big one. We want all the speed down here anyways. This is not where we're fast, up here. We don't hit the gas till about right in here. So we shouldn't be grabbing onto the club in the transition. So try that. Feel the head of the golf club, make some swings, and feel like your grip pressure doesn't change. Okay, now the second thing we need to work on, shoulder pressure. All right, now with my shoulders being locked, in other words, when I talk about the joint right in here, my shoulder sockets, if this gets locked, see, then my arms can't move. Okay, now my arms are going to go faster than my chest. We know that. But if my shoulder joints get locked, see, my arms can't move unless I turn my shoulders. Okay? Now, if that happens, see, my shoulders have to control my arms. When I want to feel like my arms control my shoulders a little bit more. Okay, so as I swing and I move the club, see, as my arms move, my shoulders move. My shoulders are able to react. Okay, not on the way through. You know, we might be able to get a backswing going with our shoulders tight. We may be able to kind of force it there, but we'll never get any speed down here. In other words, if my shoulders are tight down through here, see, my arms can only go as fast as my golf club. We can never let it go. That's why we're working on L to L. So make sure, see, now I can get some club head speed moving this way because my shoulder joints are locked up. So again, make sure your shoulder joints are soft. I see a lot of guys that, and girls that have a problem with turn. They can't get enough turn. Again, make sure, typically it's because there's so much tension in here, the shoulders stop and the club's gonna just go up because the shoulders are a little bit too tight. Again, make swings where you feel like from start to finish, you're making swings, again, where you're directing the head of the golf club and my shoulder joints stay consistent. At no point in the swing do they go up in tension. So they stay at a pretty low, pretty consistent level. Okay, again, that's a really great way to build speed, but rhythm. Okay, grip and shoulder pressure. The last one we want to get to, again, is our left and right hip sockets. Okay, so my femur is sitting right on my pelvis bone, and so I need to make sure that it can move. Okay, if my joints and my hips are locked up, see, I need my right hip, when I swing back, I need my right hip to move back. So when my right hip moves this way, it moves back. It gives me room for my arms to come through on the way down. Now, a lot of people, again, have tried to lock this leg and lock this hip into place, and what that does is it gets my hips get real tight, then right from the top, all I do is clear my hips and I run into the ball, and I come over the top of it and pull it. That's what most people do. So again, your hip sockets, again, my right hip socket, my left hip socket are both going to work back and through. I'm constantly moving away from the golf ball. Okay, but if my hip sockets are tight, I'm not able to do that. The only thing I can do is try to lock my leg, and see, that still doesn't do it. See, I don't necessarily want my leg to lock, and people's legs lock or their hip goes up like that because their hip joint's so tight it can't move. Okay, so again, before we get real technical and we get frustrated with what we're doing technically, make sure that your body has the ability to move. Grip and grip pressure, shoulder pressure. So we've got these joints, left and right shoulder joints, left and right hip sockets. Make sure they've got mobility so you're able to swing your best. So check these out. Next time you swing, I know it'll help.